T-minus 10.
All aboard!
You know what a job is? That's when people get up in the morning and they go to work.
This is Scope of Success, where we bring you life lessons and throw a lifeline to your career. And now, Brian and James.
Hey, Aliki.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Where are we calling you?
I'm at the Sydney airport, about to board a flight to Singapore.
Oh, very cool. What? So you just finished up your Australia leg of your tour?
New Zealand, and the last we spoke, I think I was in Easter Island.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So how did Australia? How did that work out?
Australia was great. I was here to visit some friends in Melbourne and some friends in Sydney. New Zealand was amazing. I did a 1-month road trip with a bunch of strangers I met in Auckland. So we spent a month together just driving the North and South Island, and it was a great learning experience.
Oh, it's amazing. Did you see any of the? Isn't the Lord of the Rings isn't that film there? Did you see any of that?
It was. We didn't go to Hobbit Town because it was like $50 to get in, and you had to buy your tickets online months in advance.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't enough of a fan of the movies to justify it.
Right.
But a lot of the landscapes they do remind you of the movies.
Right. Wow, that's awesome. How long does it take to get from Australia to New Zealand?
So I flew from Queenstown to Melbourne. I think it was a 3-hour flight.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that is pretty far. You always think that it's so close.
Yeah, but they really don't like being lumped together. They really are two distinct and fairly far apart countries.
Right. What? So as far as networking business, how did that work out? What?
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. In Australia, I met with the chair for the Northern PMI branch in Auckland. Her name is Ashley Waters, and we had lunch together and talked about various motivations for volunteers and why people give so much of themselves to PMI, both professionally and on a volunteer basis.
Why is that? Oh, so she answered that question. Everybody's been dying to find out. So what did she say? Why is everybody volunteering their time?
Well, the conversation we had also was how do we motivate people to give back, and how do we make them realize that the organization of PMI is a global community, and you're not paying membership dues to some higher power. You're paying them to a community of people that are going to help you develop professionally. And how can we make that connection between volunteering and, an element of altruism, like you give back professionally because you want to move forward, but you also give a lot of your time because you know that the community can use your expertise.
Right. Yeah. James and I talk about that on the show a lot, how volunteering and really kind of helping out is such a huge benefit to degrees that you can't even think of.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fulfilling, and it's also about trying to find meaningful ways that people can give back through a professional organization like PMI. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. How long was she a member for and volunteering?
She's a new chairperson. She was brought on, I think, in the last election. So she's got lots of ideas, lots of things she wants to do, and I think she's going to be there for a long time. She's really a wonderful person who just got her PGMP certification this week. So congratulations, Ashley.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations.
And then I was in Christchurch, and I met with the president of the New Zealand chapter, who is James Dobson.
So wait, just so we could map this out. Because I don't have my atlas in front of me. So where is this related to? Because everybody knows where Sydney is on the the west coast of Australia, right?
East Coast.
East Coast. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Yeah. East Coast.
Yeah.
So where is it in relationship to Sydney?
So New Zealand is New Zealand is the other country, 3 hours away. So Auckland is in the North Island, sort of midway up the North Island of New Zealand, and Christchurch is in the South Island.
Okay, correct. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So they have, what their chapter does, their chapter is the whole country, and then they have branches in the different cities.
Oh, okay. How many members do they have?
Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they were saying how they do events in different areas, and then they have to bring people together for one big PDD day. In each of the cities takes turns depending on who did it last year.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great. What's the big industry that they're doing there? Is there something that kind of sticks out?
Well, what sticks out is the idea that New Zealand is, and this is a conversation I had with James, was that New Zealand, because of the distance, because of how far away it is from everything else, and because of how small the population is. I mean, I was there at the high season and nothing was crowded, so it makes people who are project managers very much DIYers. They're very good at doing everything themselves, including project management. And when I was in Christchurch is still coming back from the earthquake in 2011. So the industry there is a lot of infrastructure and construction.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. What type of
opportunities? Opportunities to make things different, to make things better.
What type of construction is it? Are they building? What are they building? Is it?
Well, in 2011, the earthquake in Christchurch basically leveled the downtown. And so they're reconstructing everything. And I was walking around going, wow, there's a lot of construction. He goes, well, yeah, the city was basically leveled 7 years ago. So they're redoing everything.
Wow. Oh, man. I didn't remember that. Yeah. Oh, that's great to hear that.
And because New Zealand is so isolated, it means that the people who are in project management are also, they're both generalists and experts. They see what needs to be done and they get to doing it themselves. So they learn their skills and they learn from each other and they learn how to do things themselves because of how isolated they are as a country.
Right. Wow. Being in New York, when we talk about project management, agile always comes up. It's such a huge thing. Is that going on there too? I mean,
Agile is everywhere. Agile is a conversation everyone is having. And one of the conversations that I had with Ashley in Auckland was the idea that people see this huge difference between agile and waterfall. In reality, it's the same thing. Agile is just lots of little waterfalls, and that we have to stop sort of separating these methodologies as being separate. In reality, they're equal and they can be integrated together. It depends on the project, depends on the people, depends on your approach.
Right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's a great thinking to it. So when you were back in Australia, did you visit anyone there or?
I did. I met with the president of the Melbourne chapter, Annie Sheehan. So we went out for lunch, and she took me to Brighton Beach to see the bathing boxes and get my picture taken. Everyone's been so awesome. Every time I go somewhere, they want to show me something new from their city. So they want to show off something from their city. So it's always fun.
Is that Brighton Beach?
That's right.
Is that named after from England's Brighton Beach?
I think everything in Australia is named a little bit after England.
Right, because New York has its own Brighton Beach too, but that was from there.
Yeah, no, a lot of things in Australia you go, I think there's a King's Cross in England too, and I think they like to remember.
Right. That's great though. And how long were you in Australia for?
I was just in Australia for 2 weeks, just in Melbourne and Sydney because it's quite expensive, and I wanted to head back. I wanted to explore a little bit more in Asia, so I'm headed to Singapore today in about an hour, and then I'll go to Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos, and touch base with some members in those different countries.
Oh, that's great! Wow. What's the takeaway from Australia and New Zealand? What's the two takeaways that you got from those places?
The takeaways are they're very similar to the conversations we're having about agile, waterfall, about governance. These are the same conversations they're having in South America as well. And to me, it means that everyone who's in PMI is struggling with some of the same issues, but also thinking along the same lines for solutions. So it's very inspiring. It's very motivating to see that, that there are maybe some priorities in terms of things that the chapters can do to help each other out. We can set priorities to help each other over the next couple of years, looking at some of the issues that everyone's facing at the same time.
Right. Yeah, that's really great. I was when I was in Paris. I travel too sometimes. I was in Paris and I was in the subway, and it was like a Friday, probably around like 7 or 8 o'clock, and I noticed the people who were on the subway at the time. And to me, I live in New York and I take the subway a lot there. It was the same exact people who would have been in New York or in Paris. There was the businessman, there was the person, there was the people going out for happy hour. I feel like people are the people and projects are projects.
Absolutely. Projects are projects. And the beautiful thing about PMI is the way it gets us to communicate with each other.
Right. Yeah. It really provides a community, and it's easier to reach out to people. Yeah, it really is.
And learn from each other. All those LIM events and those global congresses are opportunities to remember, to be reminded of that fact, and also to say, okay, we're all struggling with the same things. What has a chapter found as a solution? Let's see if it'll work for us too.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. What type of, did they mention kind of any struggles that they have or kind of challenges that they face?
I think I tried to talk more about like positive stuff, and
right.
I found that the challenges all come up and they tend to be similar. One of the things I'm really looking forward to is to learn more about how Melbourne does their chapter elections. So they have a structure around who can run to be a board member and who can't, and an election committee. And I'm really curious as to how that works for them, because I think that's a challenge a lot of chapters I've spoken with have faced, is having board members who don't necessarily have any experience volunteering with the chapter before. And so it would be interesting to see how they have found a solution to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And how you get them up to speed. Exactly. And to be effective board members.
Transition programs. Then they have transition programs, which is super interesting.
Right. That's interesting what you said about you wanted to stay positive. I find that too when I'm talking with people, where if you do kind of, because you may honestly just kind of want to find a challenge or see what people deal with. Mm-hmm. But then you don't want to go down that road where people start to get negative and just complain. And then they start to bring out all the negativity of things that they can think of.
Same complaints. We've all heard them before.
Right.
Let's talk solutions. Let's talk positive. Let's talk about, why nobody volunteers to complain.
Right. Yeah.
People want solutions.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's fantastic. So, so you're getting ready to board a plane to.
I gotta run. I gotta go board my flight.
Oh, that's excellent. So we're gonna catch up with you in Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore or Vietnam. We'll touch base in a couple weeks.
Okay, excellent. Well, have a good flight.
Thanks so much.
And we will talk to you next time.
Scope of Success is brought to you by PMI Long Island, the Project Management Institute of Long Island. For more information, visit pmilic.org.